Good morning, dear children. Are you ready with your notebook and pen? We can begin with an activity. Here is a storyboard, but it is incomplete. It's your time for creativity. Look into the cells of the storyboard one by one. So many questions will come to your mind. Imagine you know the answers for these questions. You can write a story based on those answers and adding more and giving an attractive ending to your story. Also give a suitable title. You can post your story later after refining it in your blog. Remember, when you post your story, under your title, give your name and also the date of publishing of this story. That is the date of posting this story. Okay, you can do it later. Now come back. The story you have just watched is a real one. It actually happened in the life of a girl called Shaheen Mistry. Let us see what happened in her life.
Shaheen Mistry was born in Mumbai in 1971. As her father was a banker who had to move cities, she grew up in many countries including Indonesia. When she was 12 years old, one day, sitting on the veranda of a white colonial home in Jakarta, she watched little ants moving to their destinations carrying heavy loads. She thought of her destiny and wrote a poem which sowed the seed for what she was going to become.
So that poem, and this goes back a long time, 1983, was said, I reached to touch a rainbow today, I reached up high, so high, and yet as high as I reached up, I could not touch the sky. I'll reach to touch a rainbow again, I'll reach up higher than high, and if I try to reach up high, I just may skim the sky. So I felt very, very lucky that at the age of 12, I sort of knew what I wanted to do.
Shaheen had an international upbringing as she learned in 10 different schools across 5 countries. Her educational system extended widely from French, British, American, and international school systems. Her life was perfect until she visited an orphanage in 1983. She remembers not knowing what to do on seeing the kids there. Some crying, some screaming, some quiet, and some children laughing. After that incident, she returned to the orphanage every weekend and on vacations. In summer vacations, she went to Mumbai, where she volunteered at Happy Home and School for the Blind. The school buzzed with confident children running up and down the staircases or playing cricket on the terrace with a ball that jingled.
But every summer, I spent my summers working with kids who were visually impaired, hearing impaired. When we lived in the US, I worked with autistic kids. When we lived in Indonesia, I worked with really severely handicapped kids who lived in an orphanage. And I just remember lots and lots of joy. Just really loving being around kids and knowing that somewhere this is what I'm gonna do.
She had seen piles of wasted food on her friend's party, and when she left, she noticed a woman on the roadside portioning out her meager amounts of dal and rice. She would watch children beg in the streets. She started to see slums as the fabric of the city. Suddenly, she noticed slums everywhere in Mumbai. She began noticing the disparity in people's lives. It was during the summer in 1989 when her taxi stopped at the traffic signal in Mumbai. 3 children ran up to her car, smiling and begging. At that moment, she suddenly realized that her life would be more meaningful if she stayed in India than in the United States. She wanted to be part of making things better for children. She telephoned her parents to share her feelings to move back to Mumbai. Her parents listened, advised, and cautioned her. When she persisted, they agreed on two conditions. She would get admission into a good college in the city. She would travel abroad for her graduate degree. She went to St. Xavier's College where her parents had studied, but the admissions had been shut and she was denied appointment to meet the principal. She went to the principal's room through a side door. Father DeCruz quizzically looked at her. She blurted out and asked him to help her. At the end of their conversation, he granted her admission to St. Xavier's. The academic system at St. Xavier's was far more bookish than in United States, so she decided to learn more from the city. She wanted to understand India in a deeper way than during her summer vacations. One day, she walked into a low-income community, a maze of tiny alleyways, no running water, no waste disposal system, and only 6 small toilets for around 10,000 people. There, a soft-spoken girl, dressed in beautiful sari, welcomed Shaheen into her home. That 18-year-old girl, Sandhya, spoke only Hindi, whereas Shaheen spoke only English. But Shaheen suddenly felt a connection with that girl whose life was entirely different from hers. Every day after her class, Shaheen went to Sandhya's small house. When a few children walked in, she welcomed them. These children formed Shaheen's first class, in which she taught a few English words, a song, or a little math. She searched for a learning environment free of the community's distractions. India had people who could teach, spaces that could be utilized as classrooms, and funds to teach all children. Shaheen thought of finding a way to bring them together. But when she approached 20 schools in the city to give just one classroom in their building for 3 hours every day, all of them refused for silly reasons. Finally, when Shaheen was almost to give up, the principal of Holy Name School in Colaba agreed to give a room. That became the first Akanksha Center. Shaheen mobilized volunteers from her college and made a rough plan of what to teach. She wanted the class at Akanksha Center to be a place where children can feel safe.
Let us know more about Akanksha Foundation and such other social entrepreneurship organizations.
Dear children, good morning. Akanksha is a charitable organization with a mission to provide basic education to slum children. Was founded by Shaheen Mistri in 1991, Mumbai as its headquarters. The motto of Akanksha is aspire, achieve and be the change. I repeat once more, aspire, achieve and be the change. And the objectives of Akanksha are providing learning opportunities for all children. Second one, providing special care and protection to slum children. Third one, providing pleasing atmosphere for learning. Children from Akanksha learned basic English, maths, moral values, self-confidence and self-esteem. From a single class with 15 children, now Akanksha reaches 21 schools. And you know children, Shaheeen Mistry is the CEO of Teach for India. For India Fellowship is an opportunity for India's brightest and most promising youth from nation's established universities to serve as a full-time volunteer or teacher for Akanksha. In Kerala, there was such an institution called Kanavu in Wayanad. Let's watch.
It was in the late 1970s that Mr. KJ Baby walked into the lives of the Wayanad tribals. Baby saw a dream of an alternative education system for the children of the Adivasis. And Kanavar was that dream. For students who once failed to cope with the education in ordinary schools, learning has become interesting. This interactive learning process provides a solid footing for the empowerment of a marginalized society.
Thank you.
Hi children, hope you all enjoyed this lesson.
Bye.